Kaya Kwaba Kiri Janang Nunda Mangamang Yuranga Wadandi Buja. Hello, good to see you all together on Wadandi Buja. Nalak Kadich Wadandi Yunang Jali, the traditional owner of Wadandi Buja. We acknowledge the Wadandi people, the country traditional owners of this Wadandi Buja, and pay respects to elders past and present. Item 2 on the agenda is attendance. And we have an accurate record there. Item 2.1, apologies. We have an apology from Mr. Matt Cuthbert, the Manager of Planning and Regulatory Services. Item 2.2, leave of absence. We have no approved leave of absence, but we'll now move into 3, disclosures of interest. Have not received any. Are there any disclosures of interest to consider? Okay, we'll now move to item 4, public questions. And we have 4.1, response to previous public questions taken on notice. Scott Baxter, that's there in the minutes and on the screen, councillors. And they were the only questions we had to respond to. And I now will call 4.2 public question time. Are there any questions from the public for council? No. Okay then. We'll now go on to 5, applications for leave of absence. And councillors, I wish to move a motion or I wish to propose that I take leave of absence for the 25th of June 2025 OCM. So Councillor Muir, you're happy to move that? Oh, thank you. Councillor Earl seconding. Okay, we'll put that to the vote, councillors, unless anyone wishes to speak against it. No? All right, we'll put it to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That's carried unanimously. Item 6 is the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. So 6.1, the OCM on the 30th of April 25. So I have a Councillor Binks wishes to move that officer's recommendation and a seconder. Councillor Duff, thank you. Councillor Binks?
No, moved as written.
Thank you. Councillor Duff? If there's no one to speak against that one, we'll put that to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 7, deputations, and there are none. Therefore, we shall go to item 8, petitions, and I do not believe there's any being presented to council. Item 9, announcements from presiding member. Councillors, May has been a busy and exciting month across the Shire with, as you've probably all witnessed, an events-packed calendar that's brought our wonderful community together, boosted the local economy and inspired us to care for country. So we've had the Ultra Marathon, Margaret River Ultra Marathon, the Readers and Writers Festival, and of course the recently concluded West Australian Margaret River Pro. They've all showcased the incredible diversity of our region, from world-class surfers to runners to authors and artists. These events not only put us on the global map, but also generate significant community benefits. The CEO and I have been proud to represent the Shire at a range of events this month, reflecting our shared commitment to the community. So the launch of Mitu Wines, which was a real proud milestone, marking the first Indigenous-owned wine label in our region, and that had great support from the Margaret River Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Margaret River Business Network. The CEO and I attended Busselton's Ordinary Council meeting to strengthen collaboration between our local governments on shared challenges. We had a wonderful community volunteer event at the Heart recently, celebrating our volunteers. The Gracetown Playground opening, that was a fantastic space for new space for families and children to enjoy. Andrea and I also launched a regular radio segment with Pam Winter at Two Oceans FM in Augusta, helping us share local Shire news and updates directly with the Augusta community. And most recently, the other day, we had the Department of Communities Roundtable discussion, which was a really important forum for identifying service gaps and shaping our advocacy to improve support for our residents in the Shire. So many thanks to the Department of Communities, Mike Rowe, for enabling that roundtable to occur. Item 10 is questions from members of which due notice has been given, and there are none. So councillors will move into 11, reports of committees and officers' reports. So the first one is 11.2.1 in regards to the report on the petition that we received, request to modify the Wetchcliffe Tennis Court plan to preserve parking bays. Councillors, there is a motion there. Do I have someone to move that motion? Councillor Duff. And a seconder, Councillor Muir. Councillor Duff, do you wish to speak to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the community who put this petition together, because I think it's a great tool for the community to raise issues for the council to consider. And I commend the administration on the report that was prepared for this and the briefings that we had during the process. I think the officer recommendations have landed in a good spot, especially number 2, request the CEO undertake further consultation on the form and layout of formalisation of the parking in front of Witchcliffe hard courts. As we know, there's no budget line item in the forthcoming year to make that formalisation happen. So in the meantime, you know, we're going to see Witchcliffe probably change again, and that'll be not just around business use, but around the use of that new sporting facility, which has been redone at the moment. So it's a really good opportunity to make sure that we balance, you know, making the place look great and what the community needs for car parking. So I'm really happy with where this has landed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Muir, do you wish to make comment on this?
I concur with Councillor Dath, and I think the report outlines, I guess, the growth we've seen in Witchcliffe and the need for these hard courts, and also, I guess, working with the flourishing business community to support their needs as well. And I look forward to the consultation process to achieve that balance. So thanks for those endeavours.
Thanks, Councillor Muir. Do I have any other councillors who wish to speak for or against this item? We'll put it to the vote. Councillors, all in favour, show your hand, please. Thank you. That's carried unanimously. We move into 11.3. 11.3.1 is a review of delegations. Councillors, do I have a motion to move there? Councillor Earl, officer's recommendation, yes, and a seconder, Councillor Binks. Councillor Earl? No. Councillor Binks?
No.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Boland?
Yes, I'm speaking in favour of it. I did raise something today, it just wasn't quite clear about single houses. There was a part in the delegations around, that's changed now, and we don't delegate that because we don't have any power anymore. And it was just a clarification around whether we were dealing with it in this round of looking at the delegations or in a future one. But yes, we don't have to deal with that anymore because we don't have that power anymore, which is quite unfortunate.
Yes, change of legislation. If there's no one else who wishes to speak for or against this, we'll put it to the vote. Councillors, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. 11.3.2 is a rating review and proposed 2025-26 differential rates for public advertising. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation there. Do I have a councillor to move that? Councillor Earl, and a seconder, Councillor Muir. Councillor Earl.
Thank you very much, and I support the officer's recommendation. I'll thank the officers and all those that have helped us through this process. I guess the bit that I want to talk about is the 4.9% rate rise, and there's a serious need for this Shire to raise money to fund what is happening out there. So, you know, any of you to walk out the door and walk down the main street of our towns will see all these additional people around. And for the most part, they're not just tourists. They're the local people who are moving down here at the rate of 1,000 people a year at the moment, growing. That's 3 people a day or 4 people a day or whatever you like. And, you know, in that one of those three will be a kid, and that'll be another 300 or 400 kids a year are moving into our district, and half of those will want to play sport, and that's another 10 or 15 teams every year. And where are we going to put them? So for us as a council, we've got some, and those of you that are left and are here again after the elections, you've got some decisions to make around where we're going to put the kids and where are we going to put the adults and how we're going to deal with our sport, and there's all this other pressures on us as a rapidly growing shire, and it's not only just the kids out there. It's all of the other stuff. How do our beaches handle it? How do our towns handle it? And our roads and all the rest of the stuff. We had some briefings today, and I think I'm talking out of school here to say that the fair bit of the pressure that is on our staff out there, with the amount of planning that's coming through, the amount of pressure that's on every other organisation, and for most part a lot of those staff are doing it on the shoestring, and let's not have the keyboard warriors out there crap on about they should be working harder. Well, most of these people are actually, they're members of our community as well, who we see out and are doing a terrific job. But they're under the pump. They're up to their necks, as me and a couple of other the small business owners around here will tell you. It's not easy getting staff and not easy retaining staff. And the pressures on us as small business are exactly the same pressures that are falling on the Shire at the moment. So I think people out there, whilst people will whinge about the 4.9%, we need to raise enough funds to make sure that we can operate this place properly, because the pressure's on. Yes, we're getting additional, probably 350 more blocks will come into the Shire, but we need to make sure that into the future there's plenty of money. 16 years ago when I got in council, our resources were pretty slim but starting to grow, and we've grown our reserves over that time, but we need to make sure we've got them there. If people want to go and have a look at our past budgets and our coming budgets, they'll see that there is actually a shortfall in the amount of money we need to operate properly to get our maintenance done in a time. So maybe the challenge down the track in the next couple of years, councillors, for those of you who, is how big your rate rises are. I think you're going to find that we are probably one of the smaller rate rises, and there's reasons around that. We're a relatively high rating council because the work that was done probably prior to me getting on council, when we had some 8 and 9% rate rises back in that day, they have cushioned us a little bit, but the COVID times hasn't helped. And now, we're at a point where we need to make sure that we can run this business, the businesses here for the community, and and just a few things I'll mention. So if you go to a place like Quarrumup, there's pressure on now to put lights and to upgrade the ovals up there, because if you go up there on a Wednesday or Thursday night and have a look at how many kids are running around Quarrumup at the moment. If you look at the suburbs that are being developed to the south here, but there's no grey water on them yet. Where are they going to get their water from? We're going to pull that out of the ground. No, you won't, and try and get it off the mains. It'll be too expensive. So at some point, the director down here is going to have to come to councillors with a handout for $4 or $5 million to carry the grey water further south. Great environmental benefit in doing all those things. But these are the stuff that's out there that we need to deal with, that you lot will all have to deal with over the next couple of years. Because the pressure isn't going to get any less. We're going to continue to see our population grow and continue to probably grow at somewhat the rate that it is, with the exponential part into it. So this is a great place to live. There's all that lot up there want to come here, and all that lot over there want to come here. So just be prepared. I think there's probably maybe less than 12,000 people here when I got into council 16 years ago. There's now over 20,000 people. You just watch that number keep going. It's not all bad. A lot of them are really nice people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Councillor Muir, do you wish to speak to this?
Well, it's hard to top Councillor Earl, so I concur with him, but I do commend this rating review and thank the team behind it, because it's certainly going to be more efficient and more equitable, which is a key consideration. really important, I guess, that we do ensure that everything we do is efficient. And I know today, hearing from all the different teams, how much that is a focus to be efficient and ensure that our rates really are getting the best value for money. And I'm really confident of that with the representations from the teams. I'm also, I guess, really looking forward to trying to maintain our costs. To add further to Councillor Earl, from our representations from staff, they've got increased service requirements. Added to that, though, is asset management, and also, I guess, coming down from the state are increased legislative requirements. And that was a message we got again and again. In environmental health, there's increased legislation there that our staff have to monitor and ensure compliance on. In planning, also, I guess, traffic management, I feel like that has to be mentioned, that the cost and the imposition on road management. So all of those costs have to be bared by us, and I guess we're doing our best to try and ensure there's as minimal imposition on the community. So I do think, yeah, the proposed rate rise is as sustainable as we can afford. I'm also looking forward to part 2 of this rating review, where we have a look at short-term holiday stays. I think it's really important that we ensure there are equitable rates that reflect the use of assets and infrastructure and the impacts upon our community. And I really look forward to investigating that deeply. So I commend this and thank the staff involved for all their hard work.
Thanks, Councillor Muir. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Duff?
I'd like to say I think most of it's been said. All my notes here have already been covered, so I'd just like to concur with the other councillors' points. That when I first joined council, I was like, you know, we're getting increased ratepayers. Why, each year with all this growth, why do we need to increase our rates as well? Obviously, we've got a bigger rating, body. But especially today, it brings it home again when we're speaking to all the different business units in our Shire that, you know, with it, there is the increase in what services we need to provide, the expectations from the community, the increase in legislation requirements. Like, their jobs are just growing, so we need more personnel, not just to, not even just to maintain the level of service we have now, but we actually do have plans to improve our service deliveries and our advocacy. So we actually, need to be increasing that, not even just maintaining it. And yeah, I'm very excited about point 6, phase 2, with the holiday homes, and especially with the changes in legislation with hosted holiday homes not even being registered through the Shire. So looking forward to how we can make sure we don't lose them through the gaps. And the split rating properties to move towards more equitable rating system across the whole Shire. I know there's going to be some teething through all of that, teething problems, but I think it is a good way forward, and I'm actually really happy to see that we've managed to keep it under 5% again, so I commend the staff on their work. And thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Boland, did you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you. Yes, a lot of good work has gone into this report, and it sees us moving on things that have been outstanding for a long time, particularly the split rating, which came up decades ago and then didn't proceed. Hopefully this time it will, because I think that will make for a much more equitable system of rates. One of the disappointments, though, is that there's a drag on that process because of Landgate not having saying at the moment they're not having the resources to move on looking at regional properties rather than they're looking to do work in the metropolitan area, and I think that's another indication of how regional areas in the state aren't given good service by the state government. Possibly that's something for our advocacy committee to see that we can get better service on that front, so we could move much earlier. I do have one question just around item 6, and there's in that it says we are reviewing the way in which holiday homes are rated and split rating properties. So I've just been speaking to the split rating properties. I was wondering about holiday homes and whether we should also be including other short stay accommodation there as well, because I think holiday homes has one meaning in our scheme, and then there are other short stay accommodation categories such as guest houses, for instance, for Airbnb properties.
So the question is does the reference to holiday homes encompass all those under that definition?
If that was the case,
Yep.
then
I'll just
it's
get clarification
covered.
on
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you through the chair. Yes, the director has said the term is quite encompassing, but if you'd like to see something more specific, you can add those additional that additional category.
It's probably not necessary if we are of the view that those things are to be included, the short-term residential accommodation, because as Councillor Darth said, now with the changes to approvals of short-term residential accommodation, the applications aren't coming to us, so we're not aware directly of how those properties are changing in use, and if we are aware, as we have been up until now, then it's rated tourism, a higher rate, which again contributes to the funds that we have to pay for the things that need to be paid for, and those things, the things we need to pay for are increased by the intensification of properties, so we should be rating them accordingly. So now we can get that information from the short-term residential accommodation register, and I think we should be doing that as soon as possible. So as Councillor Darth said, and I think you might pick up on my comment from last week, that things are falling through the cracks now because we don't know about those properties directly, but we can get that information from the register, and I think we should do that so that then properties are being rated appropriately. But overall, I'm supporting what we've done here. I think there's been some excellent work by the administration to pull all this together, and I think we are progressing towards a more equitable rating system. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors wish to speak for or against this item? Councillor Keno.
I think this is one of the toughest decisions we have to make all year, and it's really important to remember that we're all ratepayers ourselves. The difference between us and the majority of the community is we understand why we're in this situation of needing to increase the rates every year. I have business on the main street, I have a rural property, my rates bills are downright scary, but we also understand the demands on the community, and as the community grows, the demands grow as well, and the needs, they get broader and bigger, and they don't stop coming in. Everybody wants something. They want footpaths and roads and playgrounds and all sorts of things, and those demands are just increasing at a great rate of knots. So I totally understand. I'm grateful that we've been able to keep it down to 4.9, because ideally probably it should be somewhere else, but we don't want to leave a legacy for councils down the track by not taking this seriously now. So thank you to everyone for all the work that's gone into this, because I know it's been a really hard battle this year, but thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Keno. I'll just conclude, councillors. It's great to hear all your comments, and I think we really understand the rigour that's gone into this process. And I guess it's important to also recognise that aspect, the Landgate valuation of the GRV implications, and that that 30% consideration, and then us making the change in the rate and dollar to bring that actual average increase to our ratepayers to be quite reasonable at 4.9, which, that results in an average GRV, residential and UV rural property rate bill increase by only $2.83 a week. And when you put it in that context, I'm very comfortable with this. And very pleased, to see us moving into this phase of review of our rating structure for efficiency, fairness and equitable, equality for our ratepayers. So yeah, very pleased with this. Happy to move it as it is. Without further ado, let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Next item on the agenda is 11.3.3, proposed lease to scenic helicopters, Margaret River Airstrip. Councillors, we have an officer's recommendation there. Does anyone wish to move that? Councillor Keno and Councillor Earl seconding. Councillor Keno? Councillor Earl? No. Anyone else wish to speak against or for that? No. We'll put it to the vote then. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 11.3.4 is the CEO performance review process and consultant appointment. Councillors, there's a review, a officer's recommendation there. Do I have a councillor to move that? Councillor Muir and seconded by Councillor Earl. Councillor Muir.
This is one of our most important jobs, is actually working with our CEO and employing our CEO, and I'm really pleased that we have ensured, I guess, the process is as good as possible and that we are starting the CEO performance review, because I'm really looking forward to the process. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Muir. Councillor Earl? No, any other councillor wish to speak for or against? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 11.3.5, the compliance and enforcement policy. Councillors, we have a motion there on the screen. I'll need a mover and a seconder to get that on the table if you wish to consider that as written. Councillor Earl, seconded. Councillor Muir? What? Oh, Councillor Muir? Councillor Earl? Councillor Muir? Okay. There was a foreshadowed amendment, minor one. Councillor Boland, or do you want to consider that now? Or?
Yes, I think I'd move an amendment now, and I'm hoping it pops up on the screen. Yes, so...
don't talk to it yet, please.
No,
Councillor
just I was going to... I think I stated, don't I?
Yeah, you can read it, and then we'll get a seconder, and then we can consider it.
Yes, so this is that the following wording be added to point 2. Right.
Okay, so
yeah.
Is it that the point C is the main point?
Yeah, there was. Okay. It was basically just deleting the words in 4.2.1C of the policy, removing the words which cannot be remedied from this part C, and this is that the breach has caused significant environmental damage.
Okay. So, councillors, it's there in front of you. We've got Councillor Boland to move it and Councillor Muir to second it. Councillor Boland, do you wish to speak to your amendment?
Yes, I'll speak to it. Thank you. Yes, there's quite a lot in this compliance and enforcement policy. We haven't had one previously. There's been one around planning, which is being revoked by this. I have had some reservations about that because that policy is a bit more specific, but we're moving to a more simplified statement around our compliance and enforcement. I did have some concerns about some other aspects of it and have raised those and have worked through them with speaking to the administration. Thanks to Mr McLeod for sitting down with me and discussing some of those issues, and there's been quite a few changes just in terms of basically the formatting, wording, typos, formatting. There was last time we had an attachment that wasn't the the correct attachment, so we withdrew this last month, and so further months given us a bit more time to work through it. There's a number of changes in the background, just simple amendments, typos, etc. But in terms of the substance of the policy, this one stood out for me, that this is where we would normally prosecute, and there's a statement around we'll do that if the breach has caused significant environmental damage. There was these extra words which cannot be remedied. I thought they didn't need to be there, because if something has caused significant environmental damage, I think there should be a presumption in favour of prosecuting in that situation. And there's always questions around whether something can be remedied after there's been significant environmental damage. So I'd like our policy to be in those terms rather than that qualifier being on the end there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Muir.
I concur with Councillor Boland. I think again and again the environment is recognised as an important part of our community and highly valued, and I think we need to keep it as simple as possible. Any breach which causes significant environmental damage needs to be followed up on and prosecution take place. So thank you, Councillor Boland, for bringing attention to this.
Thank you, Councillor Muir. Are there any other councillors? Councillor Binks.
I have a question, please, to staff. Are there any significant implications of this amendment, please?
No, the implications aren't serious. The purpose of the original wording was to allow negotiation to potentially obtain a better environmental outcome by having the offender remediate rather than prosecuting. That's still possible. The only difference is it now requires a written explanation as to why we've gone down that path, and that is not that won't affect the ability to prosecute or not prosecute.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't wish to speak.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Binks. Anyone else? Councillor Earl.
I have a question. Could Mr McLeod please explain rebuttal presumption?
Yes, that was exactly, I guess that is where the discretion is. So it's a presumption that you will prosecute, but you still don't have to if you can provide a good explanation as to why. And one of them might be because we've negotiated a remediation agreement where they're bonded and they've got a caveat on their property.
Thank you very much.
Any other councillor wish to speak for or against this amendment? Just briefly, councillors, thank you, Councillor Boland, for bringing this up. I think this is great because can significant environmental damage really be remedied? You know, if there's established carbon sinks in vegetation, I think by definition, you know, that could be questionable, remedied. So I'm really pleased to see this. If it enforces our reflection of values around environmental damage, then great. Okay, if there's no one to speak against this, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried 6 and against. Councillor Earl voting against. So that now becomes part of the substantial motion. Okay, Councillor Earl moved it. Councillor Muir seconded it. No one spoke, so because we put the amendment up. So Councillor Earl, do you wish to speak to it? Councillor Muir. Okay. Any other councillor wish to speak for or against the substantial motion? If not, let's put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 11.3.6 is the list of payments for April 2025. Officer's recommendation there to note the list of payments as certified correct by the CEO. Councillor to move it, please. Councillor Keno. Councillor Binks seconded. Councillor Keno. Councillor Binks. If there's no one to speak against that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 11.3.7 is the financial activity statement for March 2025. Councillors, receiving that report in accordance with the various Act and regulations. So do I have a councillor to move that, please? Councillor Earl under seconder. Councillor Keno. Councillor Earl. Councillor Keno. If there's no one to speak for or against, let's put that to the vote. Councillors, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. 11.4.1 is the schedule of fees and charges, early adoption of the proposed 2025 outdoor school outside school hours care. We have the motion there in front of us, councillors. Do I have someone to move that officer's recommendation or alternative? Yep, Councillor Muir and then Councillor Earl. Councillor Muir.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to say I think that the recreation officers at the Shire provide an excellent outside school hours care and vacation program. I know it's very well attended, and it's excellent that we are getting this organised ready for the July school holidays and trying to make it more equitable as well for families. I'm really pleased to see again that we're trying to get best value for money for our community.
Thanks, Councillor Muir. Councillor Earl.
Thank you. I support the recommendation. It's just something else that continues to grow.
Any other councillors wish to speak for or against this item? We'll put it to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 12 is motions from members of which previous notice has been given. There are none. Item 13, motions for consideration at the next meeting. There are none. Item 14, there's no new business of an urgent nature from either us or the CEO. So we have now 15 confidential business. Can I have someone to move a procedural motion to go behind doors? Councillor Earl and seconded Councillor Muir. Let's put that to the vote, councillors, to go behind closed doors. That's carried unanimously. Sorry, members of the public, you'll just have to leave while we consider this item and then we'll open the doors when we've finished. And we'll just commence, do we need to recommence live streaming? Yep, we've just recommenced live streaming, and the motion which I'll read out that was considered was that Council authorises the CEO to waive the debt outlined in this report, and 2, notes the complementary actions undertaken and planned with respect to this matter. Councillors, I now close this meeting at 11:14. 6:14 rather. Thank you.